Welcome to ICANN TV. My name is Kevin Papier. I'm your host for the day, and I would like to introduce you to our special guest who is going to talk about trauma and how to deal with it. Our first guest, Mr. Rodney Malan, would you be able to share your interest as well as introduce yourself to the audience?
Good day. I'm Rodney Malan. I'm a formal debriefer in the South African Police, also a chaplain. And yes, we will chat about trauma. Trauma is actually an incident that takes place in somebody's life, and usually there's tragedy involved. And what happens is that there are certain steps to deal with a specific tragedy and how to overcome it. This overcoming usually takes place over a period of time, depending on the specific tragedy that occurred. You understand? So trauma is something that you speak about, so that something that was abnormal becomes normal. And to do that, you have to assess it first and then deal with different steps to how to overcome or just deal with it in the everyday day of life.
Thank you. We also have our guest, another guest in our studio who actually dealt with trauma. Would you be able to introduce yourself and explain your story in brief? Thank you.
Hello everyone. I'm Sunita van der Westhuizen. I'm 21 years old. I live in Cravenby, and I grew up in Prieska in Northern Cape by my grandma and my grandpa.
Yes, okay.
In 2009 I lost my grandfather, and in 2010 I lost my grandmother.
Oh, okay.
And that was...
Yes. Okay, we're gonna go. Welcome back. You even have a glimpse of Sunita's story. We also have another guest in our studio today. Would you be able to introduce yourself and tell you and discuss a brief discussion about your situation?
Hi, good day. My name is Rudolf Prince. I'm from Cape Town in Elsie's River, and a year ago I lost my wife. And she passed away. I've got a father of 4 children.
Okay.
And I'm sitting now at the moment with my little baby of 3 years old, which my wife has never get to see her since a year and a half. She's never get to see her little baby getting older to 2 years old.
Wow. So we also have our counsellor in the studio, as you guys well know. We're now going to go to our counsellor to discuss more or less how he sees how to deal with all this trauma with our guest.
Okay, Rudolf, let me explain to you and Sunita. There's no different trauma. Trauma is trauma, but there is ways of dealing with specific traumas. For instance, if you are somebody or you have lost a loved one through a tragic death, like an accident or a shooting incident or something like that, then we deal with the trauma by making the abnormality normal. And the only way to make the abnormality normal is to speak about it. Because what happens, sometimes we don't speak about it, we crop it up inside, and it's everything I put away and I want to keep it one side. Later on it gets rotten, and when it comes out, it is worse than what it was. So what do? We speak about these things to make it normal.
Would you be able, Ms. Lan, explain to us the three or the different stages that we have to do?
There's about 7 stages, Kevin, Rudolf, Sunita. There's about 7 stages. Now the first stage is to assess. And the only way to assess is when a person is ready to speak. So what happens? The debriefer or counselor asks certain questions. Now it is called open-ended questions. Now if you don't understand why I'm saying open-ended, it is those questions that usually your insurance broker asks you that needs answers.
Rudolf, have you been able to ask these questions to yourself and to your colleagues or family about your situation? How do you feel about that?
Interacting with family and... Okay, can I just give you this brief description?
Yes, you may. Yes, you may.
during the illness of my wife, she had cancer.
Yes.
So during that time, I had like obstacles coming from both sides of both families.
Yes. Yes.
Myself and my wife's, and who blamed me for
Yes.
for the cancer she had. And no one actually knew it was like an aggressive cancer. So what happened is, it's been only diagnosed after
Yes.
like a year,
Okay.
and then it was too late.
Wow.
In terms of interacting with families and friends, I can't say I have, but I've spoke to some of them.
On a question of interjection, do you think that you failed in asking questions at most times?
Most times, I've been asking a lot of questions, so I won't say I think I failed. The problem with that is that, to myself, I failed myself in
Okay.
blaming
Yes.
me.
Yes.
And yes, that's mostly what I can tell you in
Okay.
terms of asking questions.
Yeah. Mr. Milan, would you be able to, we go back to Sunita's story. Would you just tell us a little bit about her situation? Just explain us more about that.
I'll do that, but can I just
Yes, you may.
say something on Rudolph? The reason Rudolph's situation is not always easy. Now you've got to remember he's got more than one problem now. When I've listened, he's got the one problem where he's got to deal with a 3-year-old child that doesn't understand
Yeah.
that his mother has died.
Yeah.
Then he's got to deal with a family who has put blame on him.
Yeah.
And of course he's now got to also deal with being a single father.
Yes, pretty hard on him.
So it's a long-term situation. There's 3 traumas involved into one
Yes.
tragedy.
Yes.
So it's a long-term situation.
Yes.
So with him, you will have to do some sessions to
Yes.
first to get the one gone, deal with the one, then the other, and so it will follow on until there's healing.
Yes.
Because that's what's causing now the problem. He needs to be healed, but the healing comes from here.
Yeah.
And the only way is, like I said before, is speaking about it until the abnormality becomes normal. But looking at Sunita came into an environment, and if I listen to what she has said, now a lot of people doesn't understand it, but she came from a rural environment.
Yeah.
And a rural environment has got family values to the core.
Yes.
They are strict in family values. Now, when rural people usually comes to Cape Town, they either lost it or they stay strong and stay on the correct path. Now, she came into a family where there was drug abuse now.
Yes.
And for her it was completely different because she did not understand this. And of course, if you talk about it, they blow the smoke into your face.
Could you also say that age could be a contributing factor?
Of course, age is always a contributing
Yeah.
factor, but mostly it is the thing that your morals which you've got here, and that when that morals comes to be absorbed or do something wrong with, or they intervene with you with what your grandfather and grandmother has taught you.
Yes. Yes.
And you can speak to many people.
Yes.
Usually that is the correct stuff when your grandparents teach you.
Yes.
But when you come back into a different society, and now you're sitting with a problem, I either join them or I do not join them. And if you do not join them, then you've got to stay strong.
I also have my own story to tell because I lost my son due to suicide, but the contributing factor was drugs. And as a single father, I had to raise them on my own. But after the suicide, obviously, it only hit me 2 years after, and I thought I was strong, but I wasn't. And it is still hurt quite a lot, but it's getting better every day. So, Mr. Milan, would you share some light on my situation, for instance, in that case?
Death, suicide, it is very much the same, but it is what happened before. As a parent, when you started with the suicide, when you started with that, like you said before, the drugs, sometimes we act on it too harshly, and then we usually causes the child to find another outcome, and usually that outcome is suicide. But again, you can do whatever you want to. Certain children just don't want to act differently because of they being addicted to it.
Now, Mr. Malan, there are three individuals with different circumstances, different times, different issues. How do you, in your brief discussion, could explain how do we deal with our situation as a whole?
First thing, what you do is don't do anything that's abnormal, like what you used to do. And some people go and bury themselves. You know, like the tortoise, we pull our head in and we want to forget about what happened. No. You do what you did every day. Act normal, you do what your normality is, and don't go and drink any medications and that, because unless it's been prescribed by a psychologist, and then only you can use the medication. But firstly, let me say this, do what you're supposed to do, go on, normal. And when you're normal, and like I said earlier, speak about your problem. Go and seek advice. Not like somebody that your friends and your family say, no, you're going to see a head doctor, there's something wrong. There's nothing wrong with seeing somebody, because what happens? The psychologist or the social worker, whoever, they do not heal you. You are actually healing yourself, but they allow you to speak, like I said to you the other day, about a Greek word called catharsis. It is to open up. So you open and you speak to them. Okay, take a couple of sessions so that we take the abnormal out and become normal. And then healing will take place gradually.
Ladies and gentlemen, you now heard three different stories and also the input of our counsellor. Trauma is something we no one know how to handle. Me, myself, Rudolf and Junita, we in this situation, we have to live with the pain, we have to go and sleep with the pain, you have to wake up with that pain, and it's not easy. And for the normal person in the street, we don't know always how to, if we can open up to them. But for where I'm sitting here is three people, we can now in our own words describe how do we feel about ourselves as a person. And I will start with me. I feel whatever happened to me turned me into a much better person than I am today. Whatever happened drove me to do better things. My son's death is just a revelation. There is something else out there. He's gone to a better place, and now I will live his, or I will do his journey, his life journey for him, with the help of others, by talking to my friends and my family. And I trust people more now. So Rudolf, maybe you can share your input on how you feel.
In terms of enlightenment, I can actually helped me a lot. This was, I won't say my scapegoat, but this is my refuge. I found the refuge here at the time where I was like down, I was like low out, and as Mr. Malan actually said, opening up, it helped me understand here that I needed to speak.
Yes.
I needed to be the encouragement others needs.
Yes.
I needed to tell someone else how to find the inner strength.
Yes.
And at this moment, having this enlightenment from Mr. Malan as well, I feel much better, thinking that all the steps that most of the steps, not all, but most of the steps I've taken as well. Thank you.
Junita, could you put an insight into your life and your experience now, since we've met at the ICANN Center, and making this all happen? Because this is all because of ICANN Center that this is possible, with the help of our instructors, our other students, and also our counselor, Mr. Rodney Malan. Could you share us your input, please? It's emotional. I can say I can agree so much with what Rudolf said about the ICANN Center, because I also got to know our students, our fellow classmates, our instructors, the visuals, the videos we've watched, and also get to know the instructors on a personal level, sort of share that, especially with our main instructor, Imran, which is a great inspiring for me in my life, where he's been and where he's still going. So for where Rudolf, in Rudolf, your life, also gave a new meaning to my life, because I also struggled with things that you showed me. Also, Mr. Malan, which I also know in person, shared that light and life on me. So, Mr. Malan, would you just be able to give us a conclusion on what we...
I understand what you all go through, but when you all look at your own problems, you know that thing that we call intent respect. You go inside yourself, basically you look at your own problems and you lay it bare. And usually what we do is we write a little page and we ask, where is our problems, what have we achieved, and we cancel out, and then we sort of count them and we say that we've actually gone forward instead of backward. And that's the important part, where you're actually going, you know, because you need to realize that in life you have to go forward. You cannot go back, or you cannot, like I said earlier, do what a tortoise do, go back into a shell and then lay there. You need to go forward, but you need to go forward healing yourself.
Thank you, Mr. Malan. ICAN Centre, for the friendly staff, for the management, for the instructors, this whole place is our home. This is where we come together and to share. It is not just about learning about camera work and how to make a video, but this is all about life. So thank you so much, ICAN. So with this, we would have never been able to do this without you guys. And we thank you so much. And yet again and again, to all our colleagues, our classmates, we are not friends anymore. We're now family, and we all love you so dearly. So thank you so much.